They say your first love never really leaves you. In my case, that turned out to be both a blessing and a curse that would haunt me for 7 years. I was 17 when I met him. Let's call him Blake. I'd been in therapy for months, working through trauma that made trusting men feel impossible. But Blake was different. He was gentle, patient, and for the first time in my life, I felt safe with someone who wasn't family. Our connection was intense, the kind that makes you believe in soulmates and destiny. He'd drive 40 minutes just to bring me coffee when I had a bad day. We'd talk until sunrise about everything and nothing. I thought I'd found my person, but perfection has a way of cracking. It started small, late-night notifications from girls whose names I didn't recognize. Instagram likes on photos that made my stomach turn. When I brought it up, Blake would sigh and shake his head. "Your trauma is making you paranoid," he'd say, pulling me close. "You know, I only have eyes for you." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly that I ignored every red flag my gut was screaming about. But eventually, the evidence became impossible to ignore. I ended things before I lost myself completely, even though walking away felt like ripping my heart out with my bare hands. 2 years passed. 2 years of healing, growing, and learning to trust myself again. And then fate, or maybe just terrible timing, threw us back together. We'd both just gotten out of relationships. The conversation flowed like no time had passed at all. "I never stopped thinking about you," he confessed over coffee. "I was young and stupid. I know better now." This time felt different. This time felt real. He introduced me to his extended family, bought me a promise ring, posted pictures of us together. I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, we could get it right the second time around. I should have known better. The condoms in his glove compartment that we'd never used. The mysterious phone calls he'd take in another room. The way he'd suddenly become protective of his phone after months of leaving it face up between us. When I confronted him with my growing suspicions, he flipped the script. "Here we go again," he'd say, throwing his hands up in frustration. "Your trust issues are going to ruin every relationship you ever have." So I left. Again. But Blake wasn't done with me. He never was. He started dating someone new, a girl named Tessa. I tried to move on too, but Blake had other plans. Random check-ins about my mom. Flowers left at my doorstep with notes that said, "Proud of you." He even admitted to driving past my house just to see if I looked happy. The most shocking revelation? He'd kept wearing the promise ring I gave him throughout his entire 4-year relationship with Tessa. When my mom got sick, his check-ins became daily calls. The emotional support felt genuine, and I found myself leaning into it despite every rational thought telling me to run. Then came the confessions. "You were the best I ever had. No one compares to you. Things with Tessa are falling apart." He'd show me screenshots of their fights. Tell me she didn't love him anymore. And like an idiot, I believed him when he said they were over. The night we ran into each other at a concert changed everything. He was sober. I wasn't. When he pulled me in for that kiss, 7 years of history came flooding back. Later that night, we crossed a line I swore I'd never cross again. Days later, he sent me proof that he and Tessa were officially done. "It's just us now," he promised, as we agreed to take things slow but exclusive. No games this time. For a few beautiful weeks, I thought we'd finally figured it out. Sleepovers, family dinners, talks about our future. I was ready to believe in us again. And then I found the red hair on his shirt. Not my hair. My hair is blonde. The underwear that wasn't mine tucked behind his dresser. The same explicit photos he was sending me that I discovered he'd been sending to at least 3 other women. The online courses he'd bought on improving intimate photography, supposedly for me, but clearly for his entire roster. When I confronted him with screenshots, witnesses, and undeniable proof, he didn't even try to deny it. He just wanted to know how I'd found out. His only defense: "You're the only girl I've never thought of cheating on." What does that even mean when you're actively cheating? Now I'm facing an impossible choice. Do I cut him off completely and finally protect my peace? Or do I reach out to Tessa, a stranger who might hate me for what I'm about to tell her, and expose the truth about the man she's been with for 4 years? If I were in her shoes, I'd want to know. I'd want someone to save me from wasting more years on someone who sees relationships as a game he can always win. But I'm terrified of the fallout. Terrified of losing the last piece of my first love forever, even though I know he was never really mine to lose. 7 years. 3 attempts. Countless red flags. And still, a part of me wonders if I should have just stayed silent and walked away. But maybe it's time to stop protecting the person who never protected my heart.
What would you do? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life relationship stories that will make you question everything you thought you knew about love.